laoshi. I'm from Taiwan. I taught ESL to elementary students in Taiwan for 7 years. I taught at MTC for a year. I also was an adjunct instructor at BYU for 3 years. And this is my 4th year teaching here. And this is my co-teacher. This is Webster.
I was born in Utah, but I was raised in New Mexico. I finished my degree at BYU, Idaho in 2015, and I started going back to work. I stayed home and raised my kids, and I started as a literacy para for 1 year, and then I started teaching. So this is also my 4th year teaching, but it's my 1st year in 1st grade, so I'm really excited to be teaching 1st grade.
The reason why I asked you to come here to have this orientation, because I want to help you understand that actually Chinese Immersion program is an accelerated program, okay? So it is not a normal English classroom, it is actually harder. Let me tell you why, okay? So in the regular English class, they have 17 students in each class on the average. But for us, we have 23 at each class, okay? So that means that we have 46 students we have to pay attention each year. So it's a lot of, we're like more than doubles than they can deal with, can handle, okay? So next one. And in the regular English class, they teach math and English. But for us, we teach math, English, and Chinese. But on the half day they teach math, I teach math and Chinese. And the harder thing is that we learn math in Chinese. So it is really hard. From the first day, we're going to teach them in Chinese, okay? Okay. So next year, we are going to have a new math program. This one is, there's a lot of hands-on materials. So it should be fun for the 1st graders. But they don't have any Chinese support. So I have to come up one really quickly. So it will be a challenge for us, okay? And the other reason why Chinese Immersion program is an accelerated program is because Chinese is a very difficult language, okay? So I've asked my husband to come and address this, but something came up, so he just made a recording for us, so we're just going to watch that video.
Hi, and welcome to Back to School Night. My name is Trevor McKay. I am a professor of Chinese at BYU, Idaho. And Mrs. Lee has asked me to join you guys tonight. I would have liked to have been there in person, but circumstances didn't allow that this time. But she would like me to speak to you guys about the challenge of learning Chinese. And the reason they want me to speak about it is because all of the native teachers there, they just grew up with Chinese, and so it's actually not very challenging for them. Good for them, not good for us. So the first aspect I'd like to talk to you about is the federal government put together a council called the American Council for Teaching Foreign Languages. And they went through and they rated all of the foreign languages in the world in terms of difficulty for us Americans to acquire. And they divided them up into 4 different categories. In the easy category is Spanish and some of the other Romance languages. They estimate to get to a certain level of proficiency, it will take about 500 hours of practice and speaking to achieve that. To get to that same level of proficiency in Chinese, however, is going to require about 2,200 hours. So a little more than 4 times the amount of time and effort to get to the same level of proficiency. And while that might seem rather daunting, it also helps us to see that the more time is spent in the language, the faster that fluency and mastery happen. And so another aspect besides that are the 5 tones. The tones are difficult for anybody, except if you grew up with it. And so a common mistake that they'll make is they'll say a word that they know how to say, but they'll say it in the wrong tone, and it comes out as a completely different word. For example, the word to sleep, 睡觉, and the word for dumpling, 水饺, sound really similar to the untrained ear. So if you're not careful with your tones, instead of ordering dumplings, you're just telling the store clerk, I'd actually like to take a nap at the restaurant. Or another one is, there's 4 different words. The word for TA, teaching assistant, and the main role in a play, pig's feet, and bishop are 助教, 主角, 主角, and 主教. For us, we might think, I'm just up here saying, 主角, 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 主角. But they're actually quite different, and in context, that becomes even clearer. Another challenge for Chinese is the writing system. The writing system composed of characters that are unreadable unless you have memorized them already. There's no way to look at a character and know how to pronounce it. And so in the 1st and 2nd grade, students will be learning Chinese characters, how to read them and write them. And then in the 3rd grade, they're going to add another component, and that is pinyin, or how to use English letters to represent the sounds of Chinese. And once they learn pinyin and they can master it, then they can start learning so much faster on their own. So all of these are quite challenging, and these are the challenging aspects of Chinese. So what do we do with it? Well, if we look at this slide, even though this says the Board of English language development, it's the same for any language development. On the left-hand side, we have the more passive listening and reading, and on the right-hand side, we have speaking and writing, that more productive output. Well, most parents really want to see their child thrive with the speaking aspect of it. That shows that they have mastery of the language and they can really do something with it. In fact, one time, Mrs. Lee and I were at Ross shopping for shoes or something like that, and we were speaking to each other in Chinese, and then a dad walked up and he's like, hey, are you guys speaking Chinese? And we said, yeah, we are. And he's like, oh, look, this is my 9-year-old daughter. She is learning Chinese in Madison, or not in Madison, but in Jefferson. Why don't you talk to her in Chinese? And then he tried to force the daughter to speak to us. And so she was embarrassed, obviously, but did a great job. And the father walked away happy because he could see that in a real-life situation, his daughter could walk up to strangers, speak Chinese, and hold a conversation. And so really, I think what teachers and parents are looking for in general is that speaking output. But how do we get there? Well, we have to get there through more input. So the more input we have, the more output we have. But it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. I mean, if you look at reading and writing, if I read a book, it doesn't mean that I can now write a book. I'd have to read a lot of books and get super smart to be able to produce a book. And so I would say it's more of a 100 units of input to about 5 to 10 units of output. And so what that means is with Mrs. Lee's encouraging your students to go home and watch those 10-minute videos, it's super critical for their development. The more they do that, the more they will have that language down in their brains, and then they will be able to speak it when the time comes. And it brings such a confidence to the students. So to summarize, how do we get good language output? It's obviously a slow process, but it's a lot of water, a lot of sunlight, and then we start to see these little tiny seedlings grow and flower into an amazing plant or tree. The last point I would like to bring up is that learning Chinese, it's a skill, not a concept. So it's not 1 + 1 = 2, and so now that I know that concept, I can use it in a lot of different areas. It's more like learning the piano. And so if you have learned a musical instrument yourself, or if you have your children learning a musical instrument, you'll know that it wouldn't make a lot of sense for them to say, or for you to say, hey, all you need to do is go to your lesson once a week and you will master the piano. It's actually the reverse. You go to the lesson, you get better at it, you get some new ideas and some new training, and then you practice it on your own throughout the rest of the week, and that's where the mastery comes. It comes in the using of it. And so for the 1st grade, and this beginning the process of mastery of Chinese, really a lot of listening input is going to be your best friend in helping your child to really grow and develop in the language. So those are some challenges. If you have any questions at the end of the whole presentation, feel free to ask, and I look forward to hearing glowing reports about how your children are doing so well in the language. See you.
I hope that I help you understand that Chinese is really hard language, okay? So I want to talk about some lists too, okay? So I think a lot of emerging students, parents, they think that little kids can pick up Chinese easily. But maybe it's true for them to imitate the sounds faster than the adult. But my experience is that for the first graders, it probably needs they probably need from 3,000 repetition to 5,000 repetition for them to remember the Chinese words or even to get a sense of the language, okay? So it's not 30 times, it's not 300 times, it's 3,000 to 5,000 times of repetition for them to be able to remember, okay? And the next one is students in the emerging program will naturally speak Chinese to another students. I hope that's the case, but not, because English is natural for them. If you want Chinese to be natural for them, they need to practice at home. So that is not that I learn Chinese at school. It is like I speak Chinese at school and at home, okay? And the other one is that I can't help my child with Chinese homework if I cannot speak it. But I have a good solution for you because we made that easy for you. I'm just going to show you what's my after school practice look like, okay? Okay, so I have 4 after school practices. It's not that you need to do this 4 every day, okay? So let me elaborate on this, okay? So for the first 6 weeks, depends on how fast kids learn numbers, colors, animals, fruits, and shapes. Then we can go to the Mandarin matrix. But for the first 4 to 6 weeks, there we are going to drill on this. And I'm going to send you the YouTube videos. I've compiled a list of videos so that your kids can listen to this at home so they can be good. And sometimes I feel that this one is not good. It's not targeted to our content. I'll send you the extra ones. Okay, so they can be focused on the content that we're learning. Okay, and the next one is Mandarin Matrix. I think this will be, you can see their Mandarin Matrix book is right here. We have 10 units and we have 3 books each. So totally we have 30 books, okay? So too bad that the Mandarin Matrix, we don't have the account yet. They're going to give us our login account at the end of this month, September. But so practice this 10 minutes, or you can watch the YouTube videos, okay? So it's bad, it's so sad that I cannot show you how Mandarin Matrix work today. Because when you listen, you'll find out that their speed is like super fast. Instead of saying, 我可以和你玩吗? They'll say, 我可以和你玩吗? So for the first graders, way too fast. So I made my own videos. So your kids can follow my videos and repeat after that. I'm going to show you one, okay? Yes, next one. Yes, next one.
So these are slides or?
Yes, that's that one, yes. Okay, click on that. From the beginning. Okay, let's see.
敲敲板，
So they can follow me. 敲敲
你
板。
可以和我玩吗？
你可以和我玩吗？
可以。
可以。
一在哪里？
一在哪里？
我可以和你玩吗？
我可以和你玩吗？
可以。
可以。Thank you.
2
Okay.
在哪里？
You can tell the videos I made is much easier. for the kids to follow, okay? And they can even use their fingers to follow the video so they can make the association with the sounds and the Chinese characters. Now I'm going to send this home. So you're going to see this. This is their homework sheet. You're going to write down the minutes they practice. Okay, and then you can send the name here and send it back every Monday so they can get a sucker. So that's a reward for them too, for their week hard work, okay? And so I have students, they just filled out this and then send it back to me. Of course, some kids just practice 10 minutes a day, but some kids they practice like 25, 35, 55 minutes. Do you think their Chinese is good or bad? Good. So I encourage you to listen a lot, but at least 10 minutes a day, okay? Thank you. Okay. The other thing is that after we started learning Mandarin matrix, we're going to make the flashcards like this. Okay, we're going to make the flashcards. They're going to practice. And then we're going to have the end of the year test on all these words. Okay, and the test is like this. Okay, I can just pass it out so you can see, okay? Okay, so this will be the, yes, thank you. So this will be the test look like, okay? So the Chinese character flashcards is easy. You only need to practice once. It takes you 5 to 10 minutes, okay? 10 seconds. I'm going to give you them 4 each week. So it will be easy, okay? But I'm going to show you a really effective way to practice this with your kids, okay? We'll go to the next one. Okay. So we can watch this one.
Recording. Go ahead.
So I think this is a really effective way for you to practice the Chinese flashcard with the kids. Just every time we give them the new flashcard, just put it on the wall and then you just point it and then you're going to repeat it. They're just going to say it to you, okay?
My little brother already my family already has them, and my little brother can read them all.
And you can teach him right now, okay? Cool, I think he will be good, okay? Okay, thank you. So I think this is a really effective way, okay? So parents can help most by helping them use these resources at home. So you don't need to learn, you don't need to be able to speak Chinese, but you can help your kids to be really good, okay? So we're going to have math homework too, but I'm not quite sure about this because we're still getting training on this. I'll send more information when I get more information about this, okay? So our big challenge is that for the first graders, they have to learn all the words, all the things on the wall, as you can see. And they're going to learn 30 books. And they're going to learn this. Let me show you. I have another book, another set of books. So except Mandarin Matrix, I also have another set of books. And this Mandarin Matrix can help them to learn Chinese words and sentence patterns. But this book can help them to learn spoken Chinese. So it's more applicable to the daily conversation. And I also have the test. In the end, I would like them to learn how to introduce themselves. So there's a lot to cover, okay? So I want to put my emphasis on this, okay? This is really important. I think that my experience is that practice 10 minutes of Chinese a day consistently is the key to good listening and comprehension ability. Because when they're in class, they understand what I'm saying. And they have good pronunciation, tones, and accents. I think or if the kids practice Chinese at home, they're going to have good ears. And when they speak Chinese, they speak more like a Chinese instead of like a Creole. For example, let me give an example, okay? I think that listeners will appreciate this. If they don't listen a lot, the example is, hello, I can speak Chinese. But if you don't listen a lot, they tend to speak like, 你好，我会说中文, right? But if you listen a lot, they'll speak like, 你好，我会说中文. And their Chinese will sound more natural, sounds so nice, okay? So this is really important, okay? So the other thing is that if they practice a lot, they are being able to produce sentences because we want them to be able to function in the language using sentences, okay? Okay, and they're going to have the memory and learn faster because listening actually helps your kid's brain to grow neurological connections. That means they're going to get smarter, their brains goes faster. For me as a parent, for this reason, I'll help my kids to remember to practice every day, this one, okay? And this one is fast math reaction time. Because I teach math in Chinese, for example, if I say, okay, let's do it. If I say, 6加7等于13, but sometimes I can see the little fingers. But when they finish counting, probably we're on the next questions already. So practice listening, help them to have faster math reaction time. And they were being able to focus in class. I think that goes without saying. Having a sense of achievement and confidence learning is okay. I really hope that you can see at the end, if they listen consistently, at the end of the school year, they were able to carry conversation with me. And I wish that you can see the glow in their eyes as they realize that, wow, I can do hard things. Okay, so that is really fun to watch, okay? And they have, besides, you can develop your kids to have a strong, good habit to practice to do homework at home. And the other thing is that the last is, it will be a very wise investment in your child's future, okay? So my goal is not to help your kids to be successful in my class. I'm actually hoping that we can help you to establish a foundation for their next 11 years or more of Chinese learning in the Immersion program, okay? So the summary is that we learned how language learning and Chinese Immersion are going to be like for you and for your child. It is a collaborative effort, okay? Because I think when you send your kids to the Chinese program, you're hoping they are going to be successful, right? Right? Okay? So, but do they know how to be successful? To be honest, probably not, right? So we really need your help to help them to be successful, okay? Next thing, Chinese practice is essential. It is the key to success in the Chinese Immersion program and their future too, okay? Any questions? I know it sounds like kind of a lot of homework, but actually no. When we get to the system, you'll find out it is really easy. It's about 10, 20 minutes for Chinese, maybe 10 minutes for English. It's really, if you get into system, it is easy and fast. Okay? So do you have some?
I think Mrs. Lee is just so amazing. I'm so excited to get to work with her because she has such a passion for teaching and for helping kids learn. But she's right. Part of first grade is teaching kids how to be good students. So, and we'll work on that in school too, but it's so important for their entire school career. I guess I'll just, the only part about English that I'll add is, I think when you send your kids to school and they learn reading, they're actually also learning the English language. So it's kind of neat because languages, there's 4 pillars. You have speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And speaking and listening, our brains are naturally wired to do. Kids just learn how to talk. Nobody has to teach them how to talk. They just learn it. But reading and writing are difficult for our brains to do. So that's why you come to school, right? So you can learn how to read and write. So we're also going to be learning the language of English over on my side. So it's pretty exciting. How many schools learn? I'm going to email this out out too, but while everyone's here, we just found out today. Fridays are a little bit different because the day is a little bit longer. Last year we had the kids go to lunch on Fridays, and they had told us earlier this week that was not going to be happening. And you know, we've got first graders. We've been thinking all week these kids are going to be so hungry because that's a long 4 hours to go through. But we found out today they're actually going to be sending a stacked lunch to our classroom so that it's going to kind of be an instructional and eating lunchtime because they have to be in class 4 hours. If your student is not going to have a school lunch, we really recommend sending in something, a snack or something, so that they have something to eat on Fridays when the rest of the class is eating. So, and we'll email that out too. But we're really excited to teach our students.